Alright, so you might notice a turkey scarfie on both pups, although they're not being very cooperative right now. And that is because we are in November. And this is the November garden video. I know I'm kind of dressed more like it's January, but it is November. And it's just a little on the blustery side today, and we are well into the holiday season. And to start with, if I can get this thing turned around, which I can't seem to do, there we go, technology. Down in there someplace are a few chives, and this is probably one of the few months where chives really aren't happening anymore. But in fact, really, there's nothing happening anymore in the garden, anything to speak of anyway. That's where all the extra tomato plants used to be, and sweet potatoes off in the end there, and pole beans. Now you can see that this Brussels sprouts plant is still alive, but I think we picked the last couple of Brussels sprouts off of him. Vanina did at Thanksgiving time. And other than that, we got the remains of Swiss chard, which I kind of decided I don't really like very much. but they grew great this season. And this is a long overdue radish from the radishes that kind of replanted themselves. And they don't mind cold weather, so they're still actually doing pretty fine. But most of the rest of bed number 2 here is just has-beens. Although I will say that this one spinach plant is at least still alive. Probably could clip a leaf or two off of him every once in a while before it really gets cold. And Vanina even clipped off most of these little cabbage sprouts that were coming in from the cabbage plants, and they appear to be edible. A few tiny broccoli shoots as well, because as you can see, the plants themselves are still quite alive. And Brussels sprouts, which notoriously you can harvest in the snow, and you can see a few little Brussels sprouts down there. Very edible, but not exactly pretty looking anymore. Of course, Brussels sprouts never are really very attractive by the time they start producing. Then we got bed 3, which is the potato and onion bed. And interestingly enough, we do have that one volunteer romaine lettuce plant that actually looks pretty darn good. And down on this end, a couple more came up. There's some weeds there too, but these here are the romaine lettuces. And if I manage to get them before hard freezes or a big snowfall, they will definitely be edible. But you can see the little zinnias here are long since done for, and although the tomato cages are still up past their time, they're done for. So are the peppers and the eggplant and leeks that used to be here, and everything else as they used to be too. This is where we had a few pumpkins and the loofah gourds, and the right where Frankie is where the okra was. In fact, there is one sad little okra sitting there, and you can see him very well, but all dried out. Probably could get some seeds out of it. And then the sunflower bed here, which worked pretty well this year, and off in the distance there, the corn patch, which also did pretty well. I've got a box of popcorn. I didn't count the number of ears. that are, I think, ready to go. I need to test them and see if they're fully popping at this point. But other than what you might see is a few stray cherry tomatoes on the ground there that Franklin is helping himself to. That's about it around here in Le Jardin. There were some big events this November out here, as a matter of fact. A little bit of a wedding, I should say. As my French ballerina and I have decided we need to spend the rest of our lives together. So, and it was nice to be able to do it here in the garden. She loves it almost as much as I do, if not as much. And so that was a pretty nice garden event. But that's going to do it for November. It's a very November-y day out. Kind of cloudy, kind of blustery, but very nice. And we are about to go back inside and get cozy and do some more holiday kind of stuff. So we'll see you. And actually, we've already had a snow. We had a mid-November snow of a couple of inches, which was a nice surprise. But other than that, we still are officially in fall for the next 20 days or so. So, but that's going to do it. This is Marvin Gardens, November 2016, and we will see you next month during the last month of Marvin Gardens 2016 in December. So for now, I will say, and the pups will say, happy holidays, everybody, and we'll see you next month. Right, Jessie? Good girl. Bye, everybody.